This is Heinzie from the ANZGC, and you're listening to the Escape Pod cast. Portions of this program were recorded in front of a live studio audience. England's cricket team is better than ours, and Fighting Drunk is a better player at this game than my man Ironhouse.
One is a Grand Arena specialist from the UK. The other is a territory battle tactician from the US. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. With both having played this game since launch, the one thing we are sure of is that you will be entertained. The CFH Network presents the Escape Pod Cast, a service of the Escape Pod Castaways. A weekly podcast about the mobile game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Live from the network studios of Yavin 4, here are your hosts, Neil Andrew Eyre and Paul Anthony.
Coming up on this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast, we talk about quitting the game and offer alternatives to it. The prestigious quests are not what they used to be. We speculate with the king of speculation, Thadeous, from Going Nerdy. And we cover all the breaking news from today on our live fourth segment right here on the Escape Pod Cast.
The Escape Pod Cast News.
And welcome into this, partially live edition of the Escape Pod Cast. And as always, I'm joined by the one, the only, the incomparable Neil Andrew Eyre. What's going on, my friend? What have you been doing this week?
Oh, I think you know what I've been doing this week. I have been having oodles and oodles and oodles of fun with my girls. Both my children are here in the United States visiting me, and I cannot be more happier.
Excellent. Well, I did miss seeing a daily rundown of your Hort account.
I'm going to start changing the title just so that it says that.
Yeah, yep. Because it people said that I have to enunciate last week, so I decided that from now on the Escape Pod Cast, whenever we talk about your account, we'll make sure that we do it, especially for that person that said, yes, we get the joke already. Stop saying pod. Cast.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, it was weird for me. Because those 2 days, that's the first time ever in, I think, nearly 400 days, between 380, about 380 days of me not posting something online. So I literally posted something every single day for three. Obviously, I did the Pom-Pom-tastic Pillars account, the Pillars series. That was for 365 continuous days, with only the occasional day where I would just be, put something odd in there. Or it would just be a video of me uploaded to YouTube. But there was still always something there, whether it was the content or whether it was me explaining why I missed uploading content. You know what I mean? And so, those 2 days while I was away in Wisconsin, and obviously it's off to Wisconsin and back from Wisconsin, 2 solid days with no content. And I did say not putting any content up because my kids are more important. And my kids, I've actually got my youngest here with me. She's sat down in the studio, looking through all the bits and pieces on my shelves at the moment. So it's nice. And I was finally able to hand over the account that I've been working on for 2 years to her, and she's just loving it. I mean, she's kicking butt and taking names in GAC. Because every team that I made for is OP, and she is ready to go for Jedi Knight Revan, which we are going to live stream on Friday.
I was just about to say, do we have another content creator coming out?
Oh, I think we do. Amy, do you plan on becoming a content creator later on?
Maybe.
She says maybe.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and kind of spoil the surprise for next week. Mm-hmm. If you're an aspiring content creator, or if you are a content creator, one of the things that you want to do is you do not want to miss next week's show, because I'm going to spill the beans right here, right now, 5 minutes into the show. Next week, he used to work for Harmonix. This guy has been a community manager, and now he is the influencer manager for Bethesda Software. Sean Baptiste will join us next week in what we're going to be calling the Escape Pod cast for content creators.
Ooh. Was that dramatic enough? Ooh, I'm imagining the entire audience going, ooh, with me,
So the fun part is, of course, when it comes to being an influencer, when it comes to doing content creation, there are certain things that you should hit. And it's across the board about, I'm going to save it for next week, but if you are aspiring to be a content creator, tune in next week for that show, because it truly, minus any breaking news that happened, which we didn't get much news. You're lucky you took a vacation this week, Nev.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that.
And barring any news that comes out next week, we will talk. We'll talk entirely about what got us started. We'll talk to Sean. We'll talk about what we like, and with a very, very special Escape Pod cast for kids story time with the llama. Talking about her experiences. So it's a jam-packed show next week. I know I'm kind of doing the end of the show right now, but that's it truly was kind of a slow week, but it was an eventful week.
Well, you want to get all the excitement out first, didn't you?
Yeah, because I didn't want to drag everybody down with the news that we lost. We've lost a few content creators in the past month and a half. We lost Ciro, we lost Ender, we lost Darth Microtransaction from Swaga. But the one that hit me the most, that broke right as we went off the air, and he stopped into the Discord channel to talk with our Patreons about it. We lost McMole this past week, and it was just it's stunning, the people that are leaving.
I know. I was watching that fold on Twitter and then on YouTube, and I was like, my God, is this really going to happen? I must admit, I wasn't as heavily invested in Darth Microtransaction as I was in McMole, because obviously, McMole is more of a household name. McMole is a household name when it comes to content creation for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let's be honest. More people will have been watching him more than Darth Microtransaction, who is, don't get me wrong, still a very good content creator. But when it comes to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content, McMole, is years ahead. So it's the older, the old scroats that we kind of miss. And when he when he kind of left, I was like, is this really happening? I mean, all of the effort that he would have gone to getting his clone troopers and his GR, it just and then the watching that video on YouTube, it was like talking about tugging on the heartstrings. I mean, oh wow. So I was these last few months have been very testing, very, very testing.
It truly has, but it's as much as McMole was great. He was an absolute gem in this community. He got caught up in Bulldog Gate. But I have a feeling that this would have happened regardless. I really have a feeling that this would have happened regardless.
I'm kind of thinking. I think that Boss Anakin was kind of the push, the catalyst. People may have been thinking about it, and they just needed that little shove. And I think that, maybe McMole was close, standing on the edge, the precipice, looking into the abyss, thinking, you know what? There's always somebody there to pull me back. And then the Boss Anakin event comes out, and it was like, yeah, he didn't need the push. He kind of like, yeah, screw this, and he just jumped. I mean, there's a million and one things going to be going on in his head. But I think he's just probably looking for something fun to do content about. So it'll be fun and it'll be enjoyable to see what he does. Sure, it's going to be sad that, he's not going to do Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content anymore. But, I mean, it's not that like he's just disappearing and going away forever. Hopefully,
No.
Those tens of thousands of people following him and that are subscribed to him on YouTube will be loyal subscribers and viewers of his content, no matter what he chooses. And, we've got some new Star Wars stuff in the pipeline. We've got the Star Wars Lego coming. We've got the Jedi Fallen Order coming, I mean, maybe he'll go do some Battlefront 2, because, goodness knows there's a couple of guys, a couple of content creators doing some Battlefront 2. So there's plenty of Star Warsy type stuff out there that we can, look forward to from McMole in the future, I do believe.
But his love for clones, I would love, it's kind of turning into the McMole YouTube content creator eulogy. I know the boy, I know he's not dead, but my favorite thing was that he would come into the Escape Pod cast Discord, and he would ask everybody how their Zetas on their clones have been going on. He still does every once in a while, but it used to be a daily thing, and I loved seeing that. I truly did. And we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see where this show goes. Neither of us have any plans on leaving this game at this time.
Not. Absolutely not.
In fact, I'm continuing on in my, I admit I didn't get gassed. I'm absolutely fine with not having Boss Anakin. It's just that way. It truly is just that way. I'm still working on Malik. Once I finish Malik, then maybe I'll work on that. But I enjoy light side territory battles more. Now, if they put Boss Anakin not as a platoon, but as a required character to get other required stuff, that may push me. To be honest with you, that very well may push me. Because if they put something of that caliber needed to unlock something else, Malik is endgame. He is not required to unlock anything else. He is the endgame for the Knights of the Old Republic content push. This should be the endgame focus for Clone Wars push. Yes, I know we still have light side territory battles, and we are going to talk coming up here to Thaddeus from Thaddeus himself going nerdy. We're going to talk to him about light side territory battles coming up in our incoming transmission. But to me, light side territory battles should be Galactic Republican clones. And that's what I'm working on now, because I want to play modes with my teammates. And I am helping them. I've been gearing bugs since bugs were said they were needed for Wat Tambor. So I've almost got everybody at Neon Gear. I'm excited for that. That makes me happy. And that's the way that I'm playing and not worried about unlocking these epic confrontation characters, because that's the way that I play the game, and it's my alternative to just throwing in the towel. And, when you were in Wisconsin, you had messaged me, I have some great ideas about things you could do to not, alternatives to quitting this game. And I wanted to this is me setting you up, Nev. Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of the things that I kind of figured. I was doing the Pom-Pom-tastic account, and that was for a pillar system. That was a pillar system test because, we've all kind of followed the pillar system, in or abouts there. Some people kind of go off on a tangent and do bounty hunters, and some people go off on a tangent and do night sisters, but we've all got a pillar system and we all worked on it. And I figured 365 days of that would be a lot of fun. And I've still got that account, and I'm still doing the GACs on it, and looking forward to doing the next one live. But then obviously, I needed to come up with something new. I didn't want to do another 365 days of the pillar system, because even though I hadn't completed 4 and 5, we all know what completing 4 and 5 means. It means you get Malik and it means you get JTR. So kind of boring. So I figured I would do something new. And with me doing new things, it kind of got me thinking there's a lot of content creators quitting at the moment. And they're quitting because, of the stresses regarding their OP accounts. Whether they're at 4 million, 4.5, or 5 million, it does not matter. We're talking about accounts that they've been playing since the beginning. And they are their babies, and they've been nurturing them, and they've been working on them, day and night, and they've been doing the grinding and the farming. And that's the primary reason that they do content, is for that particular account. And obviously with things that have gone on specifically this year, it has made a lot of people, think, well, sod it, Darth Revan, Malik. And then obviously we've had now that we've also had the Dark Side GOTB, and now obviously Boss Anakin, and it has kind of tipped a lot of guys over the edge, content creation wise. And I just think if that is the kind of stuff that's stressing people out, why not just start a new account, start an alt account, and have fun again? Because it's the biggest thing, it's the biggest gripe that I think a lot of not just content creators but regular players are having issues with, is they're saying that they're not having fun. And I just think an alternative to quitting is just put a great big hold on your main account. A big hold. Just think to yourself, right, okay, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to log in and I'll do my squad arena because I can get crystals there, or I'll do my fleet arena. And just log in, do your battles to collect your crystals and hoard your energy, and just put your main account on hiatus and start a new account. Go back to the basics and have fun with the game, because that's what that's one of the areas where you can have the most fun, is early game.
And now I agree. I can agree with that. The early game was fun, but that's because you had goals to work forward to. I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here, Nev. It worries me that to change save files. I'm gonna explain it like that. Mm-hmm. To change save files in a game, instead of continuing to try to 100% complete it, is kind of saying, okay, I have nothing else to do, but you still haven't completed that 100% because it's behind a paywall. Now, I'm very cautious about this, because I fully admit that I am not 100% free to play. I love my characters. I love having my Jedi Pokemon. Mm-hmm. It all comes down to the fact that I enjoy the modes of the game that rely on your teammates. And I want to see them advance. Now, when there does come people that are like, hey, I'm just going to wail out on this, and it does provide an unfair advantage for that guild if you're facing it in territory wars, because the game has been made where there's this meta that is unbeatable if you're not throwing dollars and cents at it. But I wish that the matchmaking was more based on the characters themselves and who's been unlocked instead of just numbers and average numbers and certain. I wish it was based more on the characters, because it would be roster versus roster rather than number versus number, as I mentioned already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're more geared towards PvE, and I'm more geared towards PvP. Because obviously you're the dude in love with territory battles and territory wars, because that's PvE. You know, it's guild against territory battles, not territory wars. But the thing for me is, and it happened to me this week. It actually happened to me while I was on vacation with my girls. Is PvE just ripped apart my guild? A guild, you know, my main account's guild, the account that I've been running since day one. The guild that I have been in has been completely and utterly torn to pieces. It no longer exists anymore, and I blame PvE. And I blame PvE because it wouldn't have happened were it not for GOTB. Because we had whales in our guild, and we had some krakens in our guild, and we had some dolphins and some free-to-play. Obviously, I'm one of the free-to-play. I could have been one of those people that moved to this alliance, but you know, our guild got together with another alliance, a 2-guild alliance. The Krakens moved into the top tier, and I think they only had space for about 20 guys from the guild to go into the second tier, and everybody else just fell by the, you know, so people just kind of like got picked off, and the Muppets of Endor are no more. And I blame PvE on that. So I'm kind of a little bit, you know, I'm a little bit salty towards GOTB at the moment because of what happened to the guild that I was in. But that's not to say that it's not important, and that I don't wish those guys well. I really, really do wish those guys well. I love my Muppets of Endor brothers and sisters, and I'm hopefully I'll see them in the future in my Discord server, because I did kind of say come to my Discord server before everybody leaves the Muppets of Endor. But so yeah, I'm a bit salty for GOTB at the moment, despite the fact that I am looking forward to the Lightso GOTB. You know, I'm one of those free to play that went, you know, hardcore. I stopped everything. I didn't do Darth Revan, stopped farming for Darth Revan, went hard on my Geos, went hard on my Grievous, Asajj, Dooku. You know, I got Dooku to 12, Grievous to 12, Asajj to 12. I've got 4 of my 5 Geos to 12, and it was for nothing, because now I'm guildless. You know, now I am no longer in a guild capable of doing GOTB, which is why I've gone to help. Which is why I'm helping a holding guild.
I'm sure that you know, after people hear that on this, your DMs and your server are going to fill up with a bunch of invites.
Oh, thank you very much. But just hold off.
But honestly, don't blame GOTB for that. In my opinion, I wouldn't blame GOTB for that. I would go and blame the fact that it's the people not participating. It's It's the people that are.
Hey, in our we had a good. I mean, we had a guild at 150. I mean, we were 147 million. We were getting 17 stars at 147 million, which I've been told is really, really good. And kind of, I loved bragging about it. I mean, I would always. I mean, guild of 50, I would finish around about the 20s, but I only ever had 3.5 million. But the Dark Side GOTB was the thing that I was working on. I'm thinking I was just working towards my Geo so I could do the Wat Tambor event and get the Wat Tambor shards. And now I can't because, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know what you just said. I'm going to get a bunch of DMs in my server asking me to go join that guild, but I'm not going to be doing that. And the reason why I'm not going to be doing that is because my current account, the one that is now guildless, it's not going to be guildless. I'm going to go join a horde account, and 365 days from now, that's going to be my new content. So, I'm going to do a slant on the horde. So obviously this new account is about a horde, the horde account. Just to paraphrase you, but the next one is going to be the horde end game. So I'm going to take an end game account and I'm going to hoard for 12 months. So I'm going to be hoarding every bit of energy. I'm going to be hoarding every crystal that I earn. I'm going to be hoarding whatever I can get my hands on as part of a horde guild without having to do my 600 tickets. And I'm going to see what I can do with that account in 12 months time. So,
well, I think that what this, and I'm going to mention this, and of course, everybody knows, here comes a punchline that's going to lead right into a break, right? Nev?
Oh, yes.
So, okay. So, when this new account comes back up, and I'm just going to let people know, stick around for more Escape Podcast, because I'm going to throw this pun out. I'm leading you all to this to go ahead, make sure you're not driving because you are about to slap your forehead. No pun intended or any hints here. I really think that when this account comes back and you bring this out of your hoarding guild, I really think that you should call this a born-again Hayden Christensen. We'll be right back.
The Escape Pod Cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Micaeus Modding Mayhem is the premier remodding service for the game that we all love, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. With some of the most affordable rates in the industry, Micaeus will rebuild your roster from top to bottom and give you consultation on where to go from there. Micaeus has a 100% satisfaction guarantee and lots of useful additional services, including a full cleanup of your mods, loadout pages, PvP plans, and more. Contact Micaeus today on Discord at all lowercase Micaeus number 0127. That's MIKAYAS number 0127, or at micaeusmods@gmail.com. Micaeus Modding Mayhem, the official remodding service of the Escape Podcast.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Ware could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/the Escape Pod to sign up.
Hey there, Escape Podawans. Everyone's favorite llama here to remind you that the Escape Podcast is on social media. That's right, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So give us a like, give us a follow, and stay up to date on all things in-game and in the Escape Pod. Our account links are down in the description or on our Discord server in the Show Links channel. See you on the net.
The Escape Pod Cast.
And welcome into this second segment of the Escape Pod Cast. And in between the first segment and right now, we did just finish up talking to Thadeous, which you guys will hear coming up in just a moment. But also, Nev's daughter, has gone to bed. And so Nev is going to be a little bit quieter this segment.
I am. I'm a little bit quieter.
So I will boost his levels up in this playback. So forgive any audio mishaps or whatnot.
And I won't be as animated as I normally am, you know. I won't be as vociferous with my opinions as I normally am.
But I you guys still get the same play off of the two of us. Now, our interview ran like 35 minutes with Thad, so we're gonna bring this segment down a little bit. It's not going to be as long, so we can give you more live with the bridge coming up after the interview with Thaddeus. So, we're taking a little bit away and giving you more in the end, because we do hear you guys. We understand you like the live shows. And we are considering pushing the start time back in the future, but right now, we can't do that exactly at this time. But it is something that we are thinking about. Right, Neil?
Oh, yes, definitely. We are thinking about it. It's definitely under consideration.
Yeah. So, one of my good friends that is a Patreon, and as you guys heard, if you want to be a Patreon, there's a lot of fun things. Yes, we are accessible in the regular listener lounge, but we let our hair down a little bit more in the Patreon chats. But one of our Patreons, Fighting Drunk, Ollie, who you heard about in the open there, congratulations on that, FD. He messaged me and he said, hey, one thing that I'd love to talk to you about is, can I give you a topic for this week's show? And I just told him, Ollie, that's his name. Ollie, you can always throw something at me. And he said, prestigious quests. So many now are unachievable in top tier guilds because they're becoming more impossible to do. For example, bounty hunters and the tank, if it becomes autoable. So I told him, I said, you know what? Put together a list of the ones that are either impossible to do with quality of life stuff, or that are impossible to do or difficult to do. And he did send me the information. So the first one, Nev, is that he tells us. I'm going to save that one for last. I'm sorry. Fulcrum. Defeat Hoth Rebel Assault Phase 6 Rogue One mission. In the third portion of the Fulcrum event, you need to defeat a light side territory battle Hoth mission. So if you are in an endgame guild that's only doing Geonosis, you will not be able to get the Fulcrum title.
Yeah, that is definitely problematic for especially for those people that are chasing those all of those prestigious quests that give them titles. I know you're a big fan of the title. I know that you're trying to, you're trying to collect as many titles as possible, and I know that there are a lot of people out there trying to collect these titles, and it does kind of make these prestigious titles a moot point when you think about it, unless they're going to come up with some way for people to buy the title. The only alternative would be for somebody to leave their guild and go to an intermediate guild that's doing the Hoth, but then there's no guarantee that they'll be able to get to it anyway, is there? So
not necessarily. Yeah.
You'd have to find the right level guild doing the Hoth at just the right amount of stars in order to get to 6 of 6 in order to, it's just, it's way too much of a pain in the rear for somebody to have to go through in order to get a title, even if they really want that title.
Yeah, so and another one that comes up, and this is where I was talking about where quality of life improvements will in turn in turn be detrimental to the quality of life, is both the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Master titles require you to earn certain ranks or better a certain amount of times in the heroic AAT. And there's even one for the pit raid. So
yeah. I think that there's one of two things. They can either get rid of the title, or they can make they can make it simmable, but allow individuals to do it if they choose to. So if somebody wants to sim it, or if they want to participate in that territory battle, in that raid, in order to chase after a title, they've got to create that option. Because just having everybody sim it, like you said, you've still got titles for the pit raid. We've got titles for heroic tank, and we all know, because they said in the Q&A, that heroic tank was going to be made simmable. It's they might not be saying when, but we know that it is going to be simmable. So that there are two raids with titles that they're just going to blanket make simmable. And I think the easiest, the only alternative, because no one in their right mind is going to choose to do that event if they can sim it. But I just feel that, maybe they need to give, maybe there's something that they can do to allow people to actually do the event while the rest of the guild, so if one person wants to do it, just so that they can solo it with a character and get a title, and the other 49 people are all simming it, I'd be happy with that. But I don't know if it's something that they can do in the script. It'd be nice if they could do it.
I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is, my friend. And that's the sad part, is having to leave your guild is not a quality of life improvement. It's really, truly is
a massive inconvenience.
Now, going back to the whole thing about Hoth, for the bounty hunter quest, get this. I'm going to start at the very end. There's 7 parts to the bounty hunter quest in order for you to get bounty hunter as your title. And one of them, in the last part, is win 50 squad arena battles with Bosk. Do you know how far you have to drop by putting in C-3PO and Hermit Yoda in order to get to that point? I climbed
quite a lot.
I just climbed because what did we have to do in Grand Arena? Win 21, was it?
24.
And it wasn't 24, and you didn't have to have a certain character to do it. I dropped to like 250, and then I slowly worked my way up over the course of 5 days, hitting the next person in line. So, I feel bad for my shard as I'm slowly climbing. JD in our listener lounge, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I started slowly climbing my way back up. If I was 199, I would not hit anybody that was above 196 or so. So I kept refreshing until I got the 197 person, and then I'd smack him down to 198, and then 196 would become 197. I slowly worked my way back up.
Did you get the title? Did you get the title?
I didn't get the feat. Yes, yeah, I got the feat. I got my points, and a slight aside here. I'm going to go slightly off track. I've only won 2 matches in my Grand Arena. Because I made some stupid mistakes in each of the first Grand Arena. I went 0-4 in the first one, and I won 2 in the second one. And I still am on track for at least a Rhodium. I still have a possibility to get to Kyber after only winning 2 because I'm going after the feats.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm playing the game for feats instead of this is my
playing
theory.
The long game instead of the short game.
Exactly. If there are people that want to go after Kyber because they must have Kyber in order to make their Epine feel better, it just comes down to, are you going to play the long game or the short game? And I respect if you play the long game even more, because I know you're playing. Also, another thing about that is you get more currency that way. I'm just playing for currency. I really don't care if I have a title that says I was in Kyber. I just want that extra little currency so I could buy more gear.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you finish in Kyber, you do get a lot more of that coinage. You do get a lot more GAC currency. A lot more. It's in the thousands, remember? So I would say, sacrificing the league just before Kyber, which is Erodium, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Sacrificing Kyber for Erodium in order to complete more feats probably isn't going to, you could 100% complete all the feats and be in Erodium and not complete all of the feats and be into Kyber, and I would hazard a guess that the Kyber rewards just for finishing at any position in Kyber, even the lowest position in Kyber, are still probably going to get you more Grand Arena currency than completing all of the feats and finishing an Erodium. I'd probably have to sit here and do the math.
Yeah, let's.
I think
go ahead and do the math.
We'll do the math
and have it ready. Yeah, have it ready for segment 4. Have it ready for the bridge.
Have it ready for the bridge.
So let's actually figure that out. And that's something we'll get to. But back to Fighting Drunk's task for us this time around. Here's one of the things. Number 3, win 12 battles with IG-88 in territory battles. Well, guess what, Nev? Mm-hmm. You cannot complete that in Geonosis. It has to be Hoth.
Yep.
It just says in territory battles. So they have to fix that for Geonosis or fix the wording for it to say that it has to be in Hoth territory battles. And another one,
that's a script change. I think that's an easy one that they can fix. That's a script change. That has to be a script change.
Okay, well, let's take this all the way back to the first feat in Bounty Hunters. Kill 50 Wampa.
Yeah.
You see the bounty once every 2 months. And you kill 1 Wampa and you get 2 shots at it. So you could kill 2 Wampa. By the time you finish that, it's been 50 months, which, guess what? that's over 4 years. Mm-hmm. That's if you don't see a Wampa in Galactic War, and honestly, that's if you don't see a Wampa in if you remember to switch out to get bounty hunters and killing 50 Wampa. Not to mention the fact that most people, most people that have a Wampa, they ain't going to put it out, because if you see that your opponent has got Phoenix, you're not going to put your Wampa in defense. You're going to keep your Wampa just in case they're strong enough to beat a Phoenix team. Exactly. So
it's a rarity to face up. It really, really is. It's a rarity. I mean, all they need to do is throw some Wampas in one of the hard nodes. That's all they need. Stage 9 light side, stage 9 light side hard node. Just throw some Wampa in there.
Or dark side, because Wampa's neutral.
Because Wampa is neutral, yeah, or both. Stage 9 light side and dark side hard node. Throw some Wampa in there that somebody can go to town on with their bounty hunters in order to achieve that. But I think they said in the Q&A that they weren't going to do it, though. Pretty sure they said in Q&A.
Yeah, and it's the first part of a 7-part quest where you have to get every single bounty hunter to gear 12. That doesn't make me want to chase it. That really did not make me want to chase it at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. These were the first ones. If you remember, these were the first
that's even worse
quests that they brought out. So it's like, so we'll put these out, and these will be like new things that you go for, and we're going to give you really, really weak rewards, and we're going to give you really, really high impossible tasks to complete despite there being weak rewards, and we're going to put a load of content out that is going to completely make all of this irrelevant 6 months later, and then we're not going to change it. And
now they hand titles out and profile pics out like it's candy.
Oh yeah, basically. Yeah.
They do. In fact, it is candy. I would be surprised if we don't get something for Halloween.
Oh, of course we'll get something for Halloween, and don't forget we'll get something for the anniversary of the game.
Oh yeah, 3 Chewy shards and probably something that says veteran.
No, well, I'd like to see the title. I'd like to see the title. I've been playing this game for 4 years, and all I got was this crappy title.
I would love that too.
Just for people that have played it, since the beginning. For people that have been playing it since the beginning, I've been playing this game for 4 years, and all I've got is this crappy title.
With that being said, coming up on the other side of this break, we're going to talk to Thadeous from Going Nerdy. Great interview. And also, coming up in just a moment, we hear from the llama on the Escape Pod cast for kids. Stay tuned.
The Escape Pod cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Hey everyone, Biscuit Weasel here from the planet Coruscant and the HSTR project. Some of you may have seen my latest videos about my modding and Grand Arena strategy, but I want to help you personally. Head on over to patreon.com/biscuitweasel, that's Weasel with a Z, and check out my new Patreon rewards. And while they last, the first 10 people to sign up at the $10 level will get the whole $30 package for their first month. That's patreon.com/biscuitweasel. Remember, that's with a Z. Today.
Does your guild want to tap into their full potential in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? Yeah! For as low as $1 a month per guild member, your guild can unleash the power of the game in ways you never thought possible. Ooh. Track your arena movements, guild progression, and much, much more. Contact ShittyBill and get one of his shitty bots on your server today. Just look for him on our Discord server and tag or message him for more information. The link for our server is below in the description. Shitty bots, don't let the name fool you.
Hi, this is Cyphermaster SB Crumb, and you're listening to the Escape Pod cast.
The Escape Pod cast for kids. It's really cool.
Welcome, Escape Padawans, to Storytime with the Llama and the Escape Pod cast for kids. This week, we're going to be giving a little love to a fairly underrated aspect of the game, the Galactic War. We'll go through some tips and tricks for new players, as well as go over how GW can help you in the mid to end game. Galactic War is a series of 12 battles, whose difficulty is based on your current squad arena team. In the beginning battles, you'll face squads that are weaker than your arena team. You move on to the middle nodes, and you'll find teams of equal strength. Your final battles will actually be against teams that are stronger than your arena squad. A huge advantage you can give yourself in Galactic War is to build a secondary team up as quickly as possible. This will allow you flexibility, so if you lose a key character as you go, it isn't the end of the world because you have an entire other squad to utilize. Now, if the battle isn't really going your way, maybe the RNG gods aren't on your side, or you made a wrong move and wish that you could start over, you actually can. If you click on the gear in the upper left corner and hit the restart button, it'll be like that battle never happened, and you can try again. As I mentioned before, the earlier battles are pretty easy, and you'll find that you can hit the auto button and skate your way on through. One thing I do suggest once you get to the third and fourth battles in your arena run is that about halfway through the battle, you actually take it off of auto and finish out the rest of the enemy characters using your basic attacks only. This way, you can reset your attack cooldowns and set yourself up for success in the tougher following matchups. Now, many of you are going to run through GW and beat it the required 50 times and then just sim the heck out of it because it's one less thing that you have to do. But as you get more depth in your roster, I encourage you to use Galactic War to your advantage. Run through it manually with your new squads so you can learn the mechanics and how they work together. Or Use it to come up with crazy new squad makeups and surprise your enemies in Grand Arena. It can be a very fun practice sandbox if you let it. That's all for me this week. Thank you for tuning in to Storytime with the Llama and the Escape Pod Cast for Kids.
Micaeus Modding Mayhem is the premier remodding service for the game that we all love, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. With some of the most affordable rates in the industry, Micaeus will rebuild your roster from top to bottom and give you consultation on where to go from there. Micaeus has a 100% satisfaction guarantee and lots of useful additional services, including a full cleanup of your mods, loadout pages, PvP plans, and more. Contact Micaeus today on Discord at all lowercase Micaeus number 0127. That's MIKAYAS number 0127, or at micaeusmods@gmail.com. Micaeus Modding Mayhem, the official remodding service of the Escape Podcast.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Air could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/the Escape Pod to sign up.
Hey there, Escape Podawans. Everyone's favorite llama here to remind you that the Escape Pod cast is on social media. That's right, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So give us a like, give us a follow, and stay up to date on all things in-game and in the Escape Pod. Our account links are down in the description or on our Discord server in the Show Links channel. See you on the net.
Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission.
And welcome into this week's incoming transmission for the Escape Pod Cast. Season 2, episode, what is this, 5, I think? Because this is episode 35. A lot of people make lots of grandiose things about 35th anniversaries. I don't honestly care. But what I do care about, and why I mentioned anniversaries, our first show ever starred a young and up-and-coming content creator that was just trying to make it into this world. No, I'm kidding. It featured Thadeous from Going Nerdy, and I am absolutely stoked to have Thadeous back on the show. This is Nev's first time with Thadeous. Thadeous, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming on and talking to you guys, and I have enjoyed listening to Nev. Just since he was doing his podcast for kids, the Escape Podcast for Kids, and I don't know what it is about the accents. First Scotty and now Nev, but you guys have me. You guys have totally won me over. I love listening to you.
We do love our accents on this show, don't we, Paul? I mean, the British accent is, slightly better than the Aussie accent. I mean, I've got no Aussie to complain. I'm sure that Heinzie's going nuts in chat now, but I'm sorry, Heinzie, the British accent came before the Aussie accent, so we're just naturally better at speaking than you guys. And, Thaddeus has proven it. He loves my accent. Thank you, Thaddeus.
I do.
I love your accent too, mate.
Thank you. I wish I had more of a Texas accent, but it's just, I was born and raised in the city, and so Paul's description of me as just someone trying to make it in this world is pretty apt. It's pretty spot on.
No, I must admit, I've got a little bit of the starstruck going on, because Going Nerdy was definitely a channel I used to watch considerably quite a considerable amount, actually, back during those early days, because obviously you were one of the game changers. And I still, to this day, it annoyed the crap out of me that they removed your game changer status because of video quality. The quality of your uploads, and I liked the gritty quality of your uploads because it proved that you were like one of us. You were just one of the regular guys. It wasn't like all this glossy post production. It was kind of it was really, really it was gritty. It was I'm. It was.
I get it. Yeah. It was. I the way that I liked to think of myself as was like the guerrilla radio of the game changers. Well, you had those that were, that had good quality, that were doing great things. And I would love, and I said this actually on my first attempt here, first show here was that I wanted to do a music video. And I just don't have the skill that others do or the equipment to get myself doing awesome stuff. And, balls, where I was going with that. But no, yeah, guerrilla radio. I'm broadcasting from a basement. I've got tinfoil, lining my ceiling so, the government doesn't spot me, kind of a thing. It's
and you're also wearing it on your head. You're also wearing it on your head because and this was the reason why I honestly think that it was true, is your speculation was a little too spot on.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you that my speculation has been pretty on point, or on fleek, I think, as the kids say or used to say. I don't know what they say anymore.
And with that, we're going to end this interview. No, I'm kidding.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. No, that's actually kind of the things. The reason why I wanted to bring you on this week. As of the recording here tonight, we're recording this on Thursday. I always admit that. As of this recording, we don't have really any news. The only thing that dropped in the forums on Galaxy Heroes was that they did a server-side update.
Yeah.
So we've really got nothing this week. So what better week to bring on to introduce the world to Nostradamusnev,
the prognosticator of prognosticators.
Yes, and then of course, Paul's Prognostication Pagoda and Thad's Theory Theater. It's time to introduce Nostradamusnev to Speculation Station. And, imagine some flashy Speculation Station intro and welcome to the station. And now, Thaddeus, let's talk about... You said that when I told you this topic, you said, I have the perfect speculation for this. Let's get into it. Light side territory battles. Who knows? Maybe we already know now as of this airing, but if not, what do we think is coming? And I want to start with, who do you really think? I know we both want somebody specific. Who do you really think is going to be the special reward character if there is only one?
Okay, so if there's only one, then I think what we're going to see is Ki-Adi-Mundi. I think if we don't see him introduced as a legendary character like we've seen them talk about, we've seen the leak, quote unquote, from the insiders, whoever they may be, I think that's who we're going to see. It makes sense because he is probably one of the most recognizable members of the Jedi Council, but I don't know. Now, part of me hopes we get Ki-Adi-Mundi so that we can have a synergy with Wookiees. Always.
Okay.
That would be interesting.
I mean... Yeah. I mean, kind of like what we had with It's kind of the similar situation of Big Z and Mission, right? You're thinking that it's going to be all Wookiees?
All Wookiees. And he'll definitely be a leader. He'll probably have synergy with other. I mean, we could see the Ki-Adi-Mundi that we've seen in game, right? As the what do you call that? That NPC that's on the Clone Wars side now.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to tweak it. I think between now and the launch of the Light Side Territory Battle, which it sounds like it's slated for early November, we'll see a Mace Windu rework, quite possibly a Mace Windu capital ship rework. Yeah, and this would be our first capital ship rework because we haven't really needed one up to this point. But I think we could see some stuff there. But yeah, as a reward character, I'm definitely seeing Ki-Adi-Mundi, 5-head, as I like to call him, or 7-head because he's got multiple he's got
foreheads.
A huge multiple foreheads going on.
Well, there's 3 foreheads, so four to the third power.
What is that? 4, 16. What is that? 64
16
heads?
times 16 is 256.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, my math. I'm an English guy, man. But yeah, I think between now and the launch, there's going to be a lot of stuff that takes place. And I could be dead wrong. I've been dead wrong before. I'm going to say that it doesn't happen very often, unless I'm talking to my wife, and then it happens, like every time I speak. But I think that's all people, right? I mean, I might be wrong, but
it's all of us. It is all of us.
Okay. I was like, it's not just me. It's just all people who are married. Anyways, Ki-Adi-Mundi. He is going to be our number one guy. Or if it's not Ki-Adi-Mundi and he comes in like a marquee event or a legendary event, which I still feel would be surprising, I think we could see an ARC Trooper.
Yeah,
I think that would be awesome.
That's absolutely where my eggs are. If I have to put all my eggs in one basket, it's the ARC Trooper that shows up as the fifth for that whole 501st Boss Anakin sort of team, because not only do you now have to spend guild event tokens to get that complete team to 7-star, you're also having to have the rest of your guild help you get it as well. Exactly.
And it's interesting because right now we're looking at a team that's good. Like, Boss Anakin's awesome, but there's I feel like a missing piece. And if this is going to be in and around the Light Side Geonosian Territory Battle, then we're not going to get a new Ahsoka. Not for that time frame. It has to be another trooper. And I mean, I could see maybe the Bad Batch being thrown in, but there's no way they're going to introduce the Bad Batch before Clone Wars Season 7. Like, it just doesn't, they're not going to do that, and there's too much on the line. So the ARC Trooper, as far as clones go, makes the most sense.
Well, I mean, I would kind of agree that the Mace Windu rework is probably the most obvious rework of all before Light Side GOTB. I mean, it goes without saying that every single person, every man and his dog knows that rework is coming. And it does kind of make sense because obviously with the 501st tag, and now we've got Boss Anakin, so you've got Boss Anakin, the 350 clones, and you've got Ahsoka, which kind of screw things up because now you've got 2 clones left over to go with Shaq T. So I would agree that the ARC Trooper is probably going to be one of those clone troopers that comes in. But I think that it's going to be just a couple of extra clone troopers that are coming as marquees. I don't think that they're going to be any kind of legendary. I would agree with you regarding the Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi as the kind of like the mirror to what Tam bore. And they'll probably bring in another ship, just like they've done Negotiator. My money is on Newt Gunray's capital ship being that ship, not Malevolence. Sorry, Paul, not going to happen. But my
we need something. We need something.
We need something. We need that second. We do need that second ship, and then they'll pile onto us a bunch of other unmanned ships, because they've been hinting at the unmanned ships for quite some time now, and they kind of need to deliver. They need to stop the talk, and they need to deliver.
Yeah, the thing that really, really upsets me is that do we know what day? I'm going to try to look it up here. Swaga Vulture Droid event. Let's see when it was. Well, McMull, who we just talked about in the first segment here, put out a video on August 1st about Malevolence in the Vulture Droid Marquee event, data mined, so it, we had it since August. So all of August, September, it is October 18th when this airs. We're recording this on October 17th. That's 2.5 months that I've had a character. I've had a ship / character, because it is an unmanned ship that has no synergy at all. And that is what sort of upsets me when it comes to why haven't we seen Malevolence? Why haven't we seen, and then they go out and in the Boss Anakin event, they go out and they put Grievous inside Soulless One.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here, CG? Come on. I spent money on Vulture Droid, and this is an actual serious question, do I have a grievance, no pun intended, that they have not put out a Separatist capital ship after I invested into the Vulture Droid?
Just one of many suckers. I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a nasty way. But here's the kicker. Let's say that tomorrow they announce, oh, by the way, we are bringing a Separatist capital ship into the game for Lightside GOTB. Hooray! And everyone's like, hooray! How long is it going to take you to get that to 5 stars?
And it will take me no time at all, because I've saved every single GET to currency. I will tell you that right now.
Okay, well, in that case, it'll take you however long it takes you to refresh each of those. What is it? How much is it? 50 crystals a refresh every 6 hours?
I honestly, I don't care. I'd rather be spending my currency to get that character than sitting here waiting for the promise of this character.
Because when you think about it, let's say for argument's sake that it was the Newt Gunray. So you've got a Separatist capital ship, you've got 3 Geos, and you've got a Vulture Droid. It's not an awful lot of Separatist ships, there's that. Obviously, if it's a Newt Gunray ship, then there's no doubt in the back of my mind that they will be bringing out a ship for, a fighter ship for Grievous, and they'll probably do Count Dooku as well, because it makes sense.
Definitely not that little sail ship. God no, please not that little sail ship.
I love the sail ship,
but it makes sense that it's those two. It makes sense that it's those two characters, because people have invested in those two characters. So those two ships maxed out would be pretty damn OP straight away when you think about it. Think how many people have gone nuts on. I've got Dooku to gear 12 and I've got Grievous to gear 12, but I know dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of people that have taken those characters to gear 13 and started doing that relic.
And
fine, then give me a Darth Tyrannus to wail on, okay? I'm fine with that. Thad, what about you, man? You've been hearing me and Nev arguing here.
As usual.
And this is the incoming transmission where we're supposed to be talking to a guest. So what do you say, Thad?
So I would love a Darth Tyrannus. I think that would be absolutely awesome. And I think it would be a great additional character. I think Nev's onto something with the Newt Gunray ship. There has to be more, though. And there has to be more ships for a full-on separatist ship faction. And we could see what we saw with Thrawn, where we see that as a legendary ship battle. And now that we have so many Galactic Republic ships available to us at our disposal, it would make sense for us to be able to use that to take on a new legendary ship battle in the form of Newt Gunray. I think that would be really cool. And
do you think that they would go so low as to require the negotiator to unlock that in a territory battle, character shard style thing for a ship mission? Do you think that they would do that to us?
Would be harsh.
I absolutely do. And the reason I do is because they've told us that the light side territory battle is going to be harder than the dark side territory battle, and that it's geared or it's fine-tuned with relics in mind. And if you're fine-tuning with relics in mind, you're fine-tuning with end-game pieces in mind. And I just have to believe that the negotiator is going to be an important piece. And definitely phase 4, but quite possibly even phase 2, when they introduce the ships. I mean, it's very possible. Now, it could be, I'll say this, it could be that what we see is you'll have better luck if you have the negotiator in earlier on, but you can still use, Mace Windu's ship. But I'm just thinking that by the end of it, you're going to need the negotiator for sure.
So you think are you thinking a 5-star negotiator or a 7-star negotiator?
I'm thinking it's.
Well, I mean, it's 6. It has to be 6 for phases 1 and 2, and 7 for 3 and 4.
And you think that will require? You think that will grant the people that pass that a reward? Like the requirement for geos for the Wat Tambor shards. You think that's what's going to be required, and you think that it's going to be some kind of shard reward for a ship or a character? Do you think that's what the requirement would be?
I think possibly for a ship. Yes, I do. Now, When I say that, that is all speculation. Obviously, it's speculation because no one knows.
Of course, yeah. Nobody knows apart from CG.
I could totally see them doing that. I really could. If they don't introduce this character as a legendary, if they don't introduce what do you call that? If they don't introduce a
Malevolence as one of the ones that you unlock, like we did Thrawn.
Thank you.
In the Chimera.
Like Thrawn, if they don't introduce it like that, then absolutely I could see this being held back in the form of an event. Or in an event as a shard unlock. Now, I don't necessarily think that it'll be that way, simply because I think we'll need it. That's what I'm saying here. Is I think that we're going to need the negotiator to be able to get all of our stars. I don't necessarily, and so maybe I misunderstood the question, but I think that what we'll see is to be able to get all of our stars, we're going to need the negotiator 7-starred by tier 3 for sure. Tier 2 most likely as well. So if you're thinking, will they put a character shard behind the ship battles? I don't think that they will. So maybe I'm totally flipping on what I said earlier.
No. I think you know. I mean, just to recap on what you said. You were along the lines of Kianamundi as the kind of like the mirror to what Tambor. So an event in Lightside GOTB that rewards people with those shards, and then obviously a separatist ship that you will purchase and unlock at 5 stars from the GET store. And you said that you like my idea that it is possibly Newt Gunray. So that would be the ship in GET.
Okay, so...
And then Kianamundi as the Wat Tambor. But obviously now you're adding to that you would require the negotiator from the previous GOTB as something that's needed in order to get the maximum amount of stars for the next GOTB.
So is
that correct?
For the maximum amount of stars, yes. But the main question I asked is: are we going to need negotiator to unlock malevolence in the TB? And the
short answer, no. I'm going to say no.
And one of the things that disproves that theory is they never have put the opposing side, light side, dark side things on a territory battle map. So that's why we do speculation. Could they change it up on us? Because we have used First Order to unlock BB-8. That's one of the reasons why I say it's possible. But do you think that they have the brass knuckles to do it?
No. As far as that goes, absolutely not. I don't. I think that would be ballsy to an extent that not even CG and I'll take this one step further, EA would be willing to do. And that says a lot because of how the parent company has operated in the past. If we're looking at trends, it doesn't make sense that we will get an opposing force, like you said, Paul, behind whatever ship. I think it's possible we could get a cooler ship, or maybe even get I don't know. Maybe even get I don't. I'm going to stop there. I think that there's going to be nothing behind the ships based on what we've seen in the past.
All right. So now here comes the question that you and I, we love to DM about this whole thing. Mm-hmm. When the hell are we getting Hondo? Carrie said we're getting Hondo in the 16th episode.
Oh my gosh, I know. And when she said that, I was so happy. And
that was all for you, buddy. That was all for you.
I know. And during the Q&A, when I don't remember who said it, one of the guys who wasn't on the Q&A last time, I don't think, but he went out and he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "We've got this picture of Hondo and the Hondo people sitting on a tank, and it's hanging up in our office. They have the artwork for it." And I have been biting my tongue not saying that to anyone. I'm under a gag order. I mean, that's not
since your visit to their how many moons ago?
Oh my gosh, it's been 2 years. My daughter just recently. I went upstairs and I came down and she's like, "Dad, I'm watching your channel. What's Sacktown?" And I'm like, "Sacramento." And I'm like, "Why are you watching that video?" And she's like, "When did you go to Sacramento?" I was like, 2 years ago. It's been 2 years since I've been biting my tongue, not telling anyone this. I specifically asked Carrie if I could have that painting, and she said no. And I don't blame her. But I want Hondo soon. But the short answer is I honestly don't think he's coming anytime soon. I think Hondo's going to be one of the characters that fills out that neutral tag. But based on what they've said in the Q&A, based on what we've seen so far, we're going to get a ton of stuff, or we've gotten a ton of stuff so far with the Clone Wars era. I still think that we're going to get a few more pieces between now and the end of the year for Clone Wars, but soon they're going to switch gears and they're going to go full bore on Episode 9 sequel trilogy content. And I think that's what we'll learn about. in the road ahead in November. But with that being the case, I doubt that we're going to see anything like Hondo for at least 6 months, maybe a year, maybe until they come back to the Clone Wars.
Okay.
That's a long response, but yeah.
Speaking of, and first we're going to go to Nostradamus Nev, and then we are running up on the end of this segment. Sadly, I love having you on. But we'll go to Nostradamus Nev, and then we'll go over to you, Thaddeus, and then I'll come back and I'll give my closing thoughts. We have the road ahead coming up in, I hope, about 3 weeks. And you'd said it yourself, sequel trilogy content. Tickets probably go on sale this coming Monday. If the internet rumor mill is true, we get a new trailer and we get tickets for Rise of Skywalker coming out. But what are the characters? I know we're probably getting Kerry Russell's character because that's just yet another bounty hunter from what I understand about her. And we're probably... and another scoundrel. That's true. And then Finn's new love interest, because apparently they wrote Rose out of the story. It all comes down to he's had a different love interest each time, 4 if you technically count Poe. Now, that being said, what is the going back, the retconning? Not technically retcon, but you know what I mean. Who did they miss the most? And what are we getting?
Well,
Nev, go ahead.
I think the only character that is a 100% guarantee coming to the game that's related to Episode 9 is Veteran Lando. I think it's the only one that's guaranteed. Now, we know because the Q&A did actually stipulate that they were bringing in a lot of new First Order characters. So we know that they're bringing in First Order characters. We just don't know which ones, and we don't know how they're bringing them in. We don't know if they're going to be coming in as marquees or if they're going to be coming in as legendaries. We have absolutely no idea. I mean, most people think that Hux is kind of an obvious choice, and maybe Snoke is an obvious choice. Maybe some of the Knights of Ren are obvious choices. And I'd probably agree with about 90% of the sentiment, because they've already said that it's been confirmed. We are getting First Order. But that doesn't stop me thinking that we're going to get a veteran we're going to get a veteran Lando to go with a veteran Chewie and our veteran Han, and then we'll get a hermit Luke, hopefully, and we'll get a General Solo. That's what I'd love to see. But whether we get it or not is an entirely different thing.
Thad.
All right. I love the idea of a veteran Lando, especially coupled up with veteran Han and veteran Chewie. I think that's marvelous. I mean, I apologize, I'm going to interrupt, especially with the novel Last Shot. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
No spoilers.
If you haven't read Last Shot, go out and get it now. It is so good. Anyways.
Or, use your Audible, go look at a recent Going Nerdy video. There's a link up top that gets you a free audiobook. Boom, pimp. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I enjoy being pimped. It is wonderful. So good. Anyways, crap, where was I? Lando. Obviously, we need a throwaway character like a Bodhi Rook. Maybe that's a new
you know I hated him.
the new version of Rose Tico, maybe. I would love to see Kerry Russell's character added. I don't think we'll see her until after the movie comes out. I think what is likely to happen, if we do focus on First Order, like Nev said, it is likely that we will get a legendary Snoke, using the abilities that we've seen in episode 7 and 8. I think we will get quite possibly a marquee character in the form of Hux. I think Hux is definitely someone that we're going to need. I think that we're going to get a few other First Order kind of like minions, peons, that are going to be good and decent, but not necessarily phenomenal. I think more will come after the movie launches. I think January, February, March, we'll see a lot of new Episode 9 characters, depending on how the movie does, of course. If it's as hated and divisive as Episode 8 was, then maybe not. But here's what I'm thinking with Hermit Luke, okay? Hermit Luke is going to have a force ability very much like Geonosian Brood Alpha, where he brings in a force spirit that dodges everything against First Order characters or Force users or something like that.
So he stealths himself.
He stealths himself. Yes,
summons a copy.
Absolutely.
I had that. I'm sure I had this discussion with somebody that's what the mechanic would be. He would call a copy of himself that would taunt, but because it's a false ghost of himself,
it can't be hit.
There's no damage. It can't be hit. There's no damage. So it just, people attack it because it's taunting, but nothing happens. So, and there would be no attack from Hermit Luke. He would be like Hermit Yoda. It would just be a support character.
It would be a support character that doesn't attack, but probably grants turn meter or speed up of some kind, right? It'll set to 0 like Thrawn's does, but I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
I just figured it out. I just figured this out. So that the whole bug where the buttons disappear, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to happen here is that if they do release this Hermit Luke, and yes, we are wrapping up this segment because we are running over, and here's your punchline coming up for this one. So the buttons will disappear if you are fighting against Hermit Luke and you are running a First Order team until you do something. Until it's going to access your microphone and it won't work. The buttons will not return until you yell more. We'll be right back. Thank you, Thad. Check out Thaddeus' Going Nerdy's channel. Why don't you sign us off the way you do going to break?
This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.
The Escape Pod Cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Micaeus Modding Mayhem is the premier remodding service for the game that we all love, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. With some of the most affordable rates in the industry, Micaeus will rebuild your roster from top to bottom and give you consultation on where to go from there. Micaeus has a 100% satisfaction guarantee and lots of useful additional services, including a full cleanup of your mods, loadout pages, PvP plans, and more. Contact Micaeus today on Discord at all lowercase Micaeus number 0127. That's MIKAYAS number 0127, or at micaeusmods@gmail.com. Micaeus Modding Mayhem, the official remodding service of the Escape Pod Cast.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Ware could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/the Escape Pod to sign up.
The Escape Pod Cast. The Bridge.
Oh my gosh, Nev, do we have a lot of live stuff to talk about, my friend?
I know. It's really, really cool, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Guys, welcome to
I saw you make that post. It's like, ooh.
Oh man! So, guys, welcome to the live edition of the Escape Podcast, the fourth segment. Man, so if you have been under a rock and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to tune into this podcast and see what's going on in this game that I haven't played in a long time," CG, to put it in a nutshell, CG had an issue where the Malik event allowed you to get extra shards again if you completed it, especially if you had them already unlocked. So, there were two consequences on that. A, you were getting shards in addition to what you already had, and B, that meant that you could unlock Malik if you had a 7-star, if you only had a 7-star Darth Revan, or if for some reason you were better at the light side version, the Jedi Knight Revan. So if you only completed one of them, you could do it again and unlock Revan, or unlock Malik. You didn't need both sides. So it caused a huge backlash in the community in two different ways. By the way, this is the bridge. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. Hopefully we'll answer some of them along the way. But if not, the Llama and Zed will be grabbing those and sending those over to us for us to answer once we get to the question and answer period of this. And I apologize right now to Urza if we run over. This has just been a crap show of a week. We need to talk about it. So.
Yes, let's go. Come on. Okay, so first things first. Obviously, we know about what you've just said. Now, I just want to give my tuppence on the reconciliation plan, right? Okay.
Yeah, let me read the reconciliation plan for them real quick here. They acknowledge that they had a bug where previously completed Starforge Showdown events were able to receive the rewards a second time, as I mentioned. Their correction, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the facts of the correction, and then Nev, you take it away here. So what they're going to do is they're going to roll back any character star promotions and changes to the state that Darth Malik was in when the event went live for any players that received any extra shards. Any gear, relics, etc. that were applied to Darth Malik will be returned to inventory, and they'll be rolling back the affected Maliks on the 22nd. So the 22nd, by the way, is next Tuesday. So just before or during GOTB. On the 21st, they're going to remove Darth Malik from the store to get an accurate snapshot of the state of Darth Malik's with the extra shards. And then on the 22nd, they will return him to the store. So they already have a plan to return him right away, given a day. Now, some players that received extra shards that already owned Darth Malik at 7-star. So to reconcile that, anybody that owned a 7-star Malik will get some shard shop currency in a way. Players that did not receive additional shards will receive 2,250 shard shop currency. Players that received one tier of additional shards will receive 1,125. Players that did both and received additional shards will not receive anything. Now, finally, they're giving us 250 crystals for the inconvenience. They apologize to us about any inconvenience and confusion, and they're investigating so this doesn't happen again, and they're rescheduling Starforge Showdown shortly, and they'll let us know when they return. Nev, go ahead.
I think it's done very, very well. A bit late. Very, very late to the game, and obviously this is an issue that should never have occurred, but they did say at the start of the post this was because of changes to the store, so obviously somebody messed up the script when they were adding Boss Anakin to the store. When they were adding Boss Anakin to the store, that is when they caused the problems. Now, I think the reconciliation is fine, although I would say, why does anybody have to get shard shop currency? I don't get that. Just reset everything, give everybody 250 crystals. That's great. Everybody, for our inconvenience, I don't see the problem with that. But I must admit, I am confused why anybody gets anything out of this error. Nobody's getting their Maliks, no one's getting their 5s to 6 stars or their 6 stars to 7 stars or a boatload of currency, and I understand a lot of people spent a lot of currency, because obviously anybody that was on 5 or 6 stars that used this exploit in order to get their 7-star Malik then went to town on the gear, maybe going to 12, maybe going to 13, maybe even going to 13 and then, going nuts on the relic. So a lot of people have lost time. As long as everybody that did all of that gets absolutely every piece of gear and everything reimbursed, I don't have any issues.
Yeah,
I think it's done well. I just think maybe they could have done it a little bit quicker, but expediency has never been their strong point when it comes to errors.
Well, I am one of the people. I was 15 shards away from Malik. And I woke up to, hey, they're rewarding extra shards if you complete it again. So I went in, getting ready for work, and I went ahead and I did I did the Darth Malik event, or I did the dark side part again, just for kicks and giggles, spent some time, and I got the extra shards. Now I'm kind of in a hole. I'm in the donut hole here. That some players received extra shards that already owned a Darth Malik at 7-star. What's going to happen is I got the extra shards, and because I didn't because I didn't go and I didn't do light side as well, I don't have additional shard shop currency. Mm-hmm. So I am not going to get the extra 1,125 shard shop because I didn't have him at 7-star at 12:01 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I did get the shards. I did end up getting the 7. Now, I can't go. I now have enough to go and purchase the 15 shards because we just won our territory war. I have enough to go and promote him as normal, so I now have to wait until the 22nd or the 23rd in order to officially get Darth Malik to 7-star. I'm not too incensed by this. It's gonna be okay. It truly will be okay. But I don't get to use him now to platoon and help out my guild to take the burden of a 7-star Malik off of somebody else. It is what it is. To be honest, truly, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad that they're going to refund me the gear that I had saved up for Darth Malik. But honestly, I think the better approach in this situation, maybe it should have been a little bit later that we looked at this option, but to play catch-up mechanics, if they would have left epic confrontations like this to where in 6 months, you can replay those very difficult events. They are difficult. You can play those difficult events to get the shards again. I think that was a great idea. I think that's maybe how epic confrontations should have went. You can spend your guild event tokens to advance quickly and get that to get that right away and have it for the 6 months, have it for the meta cycle, or you can wait until the epic confrontation comes back because it's actually something that we can play. We were talking about wanting a sandbox for our toys. Yes, it's not the, universal sandbox, but going through the tough event again.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, and I'm free to play, and these events are not specifically for free to play. They're mainly for the whales and the krakens, to get them involved, get them playing, get them spending, and keep the game going. I understand this, this whole symbiosis of free to play and pay to win. Now, if you're paying 500, 600, 700, maybe even $1,000, maybe even $2,000 for a character, right? They need to be good. And I'm sorry, but a 5-star Boss Anakin, I don't even know why I'm referring to him as Boss Anakin, because he's 5 stars, he can only go to gear 11, right? I'm sorry, we've got relics in the game now. Now, it didn't matter when we had Malik, 5-star. We all know that the 5-star Malik was Gear 11 was fine, was OP, was brilliant in Squad Arena, but we didn't have Gear 13 and we didn't have relics then. We've got them now. So Boss Anakin at 5 stars with Gear 11 is useless. And some people, the Whales and the Krakens are forking out hand over fist for this guy. Waiting another 6 months just to take him to 7, maybe not even take him to 7 stars. Getting a character and then waiting 6, that's ridiculous. The pay to win community should not be having to wait that long for an OP character.
They don't 5
have stars
to win
is
that
a
long.
slap 5 star. The epic confrontation was fine until they brought in Gear 13 and relics. Now they've brought Gear 13 and relics in, they need to make it 7 stars immediately. 5 stars for an epic confrontation does not work now that we have Gear 13 and relics. 5 stars is stupid. It doesn't work.
Okay, then fine. They can spend their guild event tokens to get him to 7 stars. They can prepare for epic confrontations. I know it takes time, and they have to work
so much time.
And they have to work with a guild. They can't go and buy a guild technically. I mean, you probably can these days, but you can't go and buy your way to guild event tokens. You have to work with a guild. Now, if you get the 5-star unlock of this ultra powerful character, then you can spend your guild event tokens now to push him up to 7, or you can wait the 6 months for it to come around again, and then you can do the hard events yet again that take umpteenth million tries. We saw Operation Metaverse. We saw Going Nerdy. We saw Xylo. We saw all of them doing their best to unlock this as soon as possible, and they were struggling.
Yeah, exactly. They've struggled for nothing because a 5-star Gear 11 Boss Anakin does bugger all against Gear 13 level 7 relic characters. So literally, these people have put dozens of hours into getting this character, and it's bloody useless. And I don't think that it should be. I think they need to bin. They need to get rid of. I don't get me wrong. I think it's nice if the free to play can get it as well. But I'm looking at this from a free-to-play point, thinking and hoping that the Whales can buy it so that they stay in the game, so that they keep spending, the game keeps running. Because if the Whales and the Krakens aren't spending, the game dies and I'm screwed, because I'm never putting a penny into this game. So I need the people that spend to spend big on this game, and that maybe they need to change the stores. But the way that it's... Look, like I said, I was fine with it before Gear 13 and the relics. But now they've now it's Gear 13 and relics, a 5-star epic confrontation character at Gear 11, that costs $500, $1,000, whatever. It's not right. It just isn't. I wouldn't pay for that. And even if I would just feel so aggrieved forking out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a character and then taking it into Squad Arena or taking it into Territory Wars or taking it into GAC and watching it just get smashed to pieces by a Gear 13 Relic 7, or keeping it in a squad and trying to take on a Gear 13 Relic 7 squad. It just doesn't sit with me. And I'm free to play. I don't have any skin in this game when it comes to spending, but I understand as free to play that people need to spend money on this game, and the last thing they want is to fork hand over fist for a character that's bloody useless in Arena.
He's not useless if you hoarded your guild event tokens.
This game isn't about hoarding, though. It's about, it's supposed to be about collecting characters, not I'm gonna hoard everything for 6 months on the off chance that an epic confrontation character comes out and then I've got enough to hoard the currency for 6 months and then all of a sudden brilliant, they've brought out a new character, cracking, let's go. That's not the way it should work.
Hello to your daughter listening. Yeah, she's in the chat. Cheesy me. Hello to Cheesy me.
Cheesy me. Yeah, she's cheesy me.
So it's a family affair here on the Escape Pod cast. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to jump in the listener lounge. Thaddeus had a great idea. He's listening to his own voice earlier. He came up with the idea of what if they can do 3 additional events and get GET currency in return for doing the events again, so they reconcile their sunk cost.
Yeah, I suppose. Anything that makes it not easier, but anything that can kind of console people over the time that they've lost, taking advantage of this exploit within the game, let's be clear on this. It was an exploit, fair enough. CG screwed up the script, that opened the door to allow people to do this, but they can put in the terms and conditions you are not allowed to use exploits within the game all they're like. But if they make something obvious like this, then it's going to be really, really, really hard for people not to take advantage of something like this. So I would agree with the alternative that you've just suggested there, that allows people to top up on the currency in order to faster promote the character. Yeah. But I still think it's complete and utter crap regarding Boss Anakin.
Yeah, another thing is somebody else mentioned in the listener lounge. What if you when you first got it, you get the shards, but then you only get additional shards the next time it comes around if you 3-star it. I think that's another great idea that they could have done.
Well, 3-starring, then it would hardly be epic confrontation, would it?
But the first time you went in, I'm sure it was, if you're 3-starring it the first time out, it's not that epic in your case. But to get additional shards, 3-starring it, think of how difficult that would be, especially in the light side version of Malik, or heck, in the last part of Boss Anakin Epic Confrontation.
Yeah, the tier 4 part. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I would like to be, I really, really would like to be enthusiastic about it, but, taking into consideration, all of the factors, everything that's gone on, everything that's happened over the past week regarding this epic confrontation, the state of the game as it currently stands, epic confrontations are dead. They're stupid. They're pointless. And Think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. Think of a future epic confrontation, right? Relics are only 7 at the moment. They can go from 18 from 8 up to double digits. Imagine how useless an epic confrontation 5-star Gear 11 character is going to be against, I think that they've brought in Gear 13. They've brought in the relics. The epic confrontation is pointless. I think that they should just go back to regular old-fashioned legendaries. Well, okay, so we have the epic confrontation where it does unlock at 5 stars and goes to Gear 11 until you get it to 7-star. But you're spending currency, and either you make the currency back the second time it comes around, or you end up, having to... I feel like I'm just repeating myself in the fact that there are ways to compensate back for it, and if you don't have it at 7-star, then you earn shards for it the next time it comes around because you get them again. Mm-hmm. I think this is one of those cases where we can agree to disagree. I absolutely do see your point, Neil. I really do, but I would bet a dime to a donut that we could probably effectively 50-50 split the room in either Team Neil or Team Paul in this case.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It really, really wouldn't surprise me. I just, I look at just, 6,600. That's the entire community. That's the entire Swugger community. First time activations, only 6,600.
Yeah.
That is not a character that, the community has thought to themselves, yeah, I really want this. Maybe not.
So did you, I know you've been very busy, did you happen to have a chance to go back and do all the math for Grand Arena Championships?
I did. I've done basic math. I haven't gone into detail. And it's not worth it. Sacrificing the wins to get Kyber, it's not worth it, unfortunately. Points, actually, the actual banners, if you were to complete every single one of the the feats, the total score is 3,009. It's about 3,980 banners, so just under 4,000. The only problem is the currency that you get is about 30% of the total feats, so you're only actually going to get about 1,200, 1,300 currency, and the difference between the bottom of Kyber and the top of Erodium is a couple thousand. So it does make more sense to sacrifice feats and go all out for Kyber than sacrificing wins, victories, to complete all of the feats and remain in Erodium. So I know we were curious. I was going to go away, do the maths, and we were going to figure out if it was close and if it really was worth it to to sacrifice wins in order to complete all of the because obviously there was a lot of feats. You've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Counting with Nev.
Yes, counting feats with Nev. There's 30 feats, and some of them are easy and some of them are hard. And here's the thing, they're all going to change. They're going to change for GAC in November, because obviously they're going to put a first order flavor, and it's probably going to have ships in it, and it's probably going to have some 3v3 in it. So, I'm looking forward to it.
So what we're saying essentially is feats, and it saddens me to say this, aside from little pictures and titles, feats essentially are worse to go after than just pure brute force. That defeats, to me, that saddens me, because that defeats the fact that you can use feats to advance yourself as well.
Well, here's the thing: feats. You've got to remember that the feats score are the same no matter what division you're in. So feats are going to be very important if you're in Division 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and feats are going to be completely and utterly irrelevant if you're in Divisions 1, 2, and 3.
So that's the catch-up mechanics. Okay, I can see that, but as a longtime player, I'd like to see my full roster availability / strategy be worth two craps.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and if you're in the middle or the lower divisions, it will make that difference. 4,000 extra banners definitely makes up for, maybe you get a full clear, but you lose the victory by 1 or 2 banners to your opponent, and you then don't get the 1,000. So having completed all of the feats covers you for just under 3 losses with a full clear. So imagine you go through all of your phases of GAC, all 4 phases, and you lose 4 rounds in total over the 4 phases, but you complete all of your feats. You're getting Kyber, because and you're going to be high on Kyber because you've completed the most amount of feats and you've collected the most amount of banners. I mean, screw the currency, you've got the banners to make Kyber.
Yeah, on a lower division.
On a lower division. On a higher division, yeah, that's kind of a difference, because it's not just the 1,000 banner win that you need. You need those big full clears, because it's the lower divisions. It's like 1,200s and 1,300s for full clears, but in those higher divisions, you're talking 15s and 16s and 1,700s that you kind of need the full clears and the victories in order to get the higher score for GAC. That we know of at the moment. You do have to remember that they did stipulate during the Q&A when the question was asked about the disparity in how Kyber is achieved for the higher divisions, that they're going to be equalizing things out. So the GAC in November is going to be slightly different. It's going to be tweaked. So it's kind of like I'm very, very anxious to see just what it's like. You know me, I Jones all the time for GAC. I love the GAC.
I know you do. You do.
I mean, but I do. But here's the thing. I kind of love my kids more, which is why I did not set a defense for Pom Pom Tastic. So it's going to be interesting. I was out. I joined GAC, but I was my spending time with my kids, being out shopping and doing stuff like that is more important. And we got back 5 minutes before the offense started, so it's like, yeah, I'm not going to bother trying. I'll just see it. I've still got a Sith Triumvirate team that isn't in my top 40. And I've got Geos that aren't in my top 40. So if I can get a couple of wins, we'll see what happens. Plus, I've got Amy chomping at the bit next to me at the moment, desperate to do her JKR event live. She wants to do her first live stream.
Yeah, and by the way, as of 8:25 p.m. Central Time, just 1 minute ago, we are live right now. Wow, I'm very surprised by this. The person that helped start this show and brought Scotty and I together, Cubs fan Han, just posted a video. The topic is Star Wars Galaxy Heroes Dead in the Water. Mobile Gamer was right. And in his Patreon thing, he says that I think Swago might be dead in the water soon, if not already. So a lot of people are turning. We're not going anywhere, guys. If you enjoy this program, we're not going anywhere. The only way that this show would change is if Swago goes bye-bye. And the show will still be here. I mean, Nev and I will probably find something else to talk about if one of us doesn't push the other person out of an airlock.
Yeah, you're getting the knife in the back before me, mate.
Yeah. So let's go to some questions and comments from the listener lounge. Fighting Drunk, by the way, thank you very much, Ali, for your topic earlier today. He asked, is not a Malik or Boss Anakin point, but didn't they say the Nexu would be coming and suggested it would be in an event? Yeah, it's light side territory battles that the Nexu and the Reek are coming. So that's that. Heinze wants to see relic drops improved in green and blue. I absolutely agree. Why make a character that requires relics 6 months from unlock? Because all characters require relics now. And Force Strong wants to know the Grand Arena Championship Masters thoughts here of where would you put Division 3 in that group of easy, hard, how many losses can you take to be able to still get Kyber? Where would you put Division 3?
Division 3's right on the bubble. It's actually easy. I've done I've been able to make my main, the account that I've been playing, the one that's going on hiatus and that's going into the one that's going into a hoarding guild. I have actually made Kyber with that before. That is Div 3. It's a 3.5 mil account. It doesn't have Darth Revan. It's got 6-star. It is a vanilla account all the way. I don't do the feats. I just go for the victories. I just go for full clears and victories, and I've made I've made Kyber in Division 3 with a 3.5 mil, so it is on the bubble. It's one of those divisions depending on how much you've got account wise, but I know that if you just power through and ignore the feats in Division 3 with an average 3.5 mil GP account, you can make Kyber, because I've done it. But I've personally made Kyber with 3.5 million in Division 3. But like I said, you cannot be thinking once about any of it. If you get feats, it's a bonus. But you do not go in looking at the feats thinking, oh, I can do that, and that. Forget about it. It's setting the same defense, having the same offense, and just chewing through your opponent as much as possible, and getting those full clears, because you don't always get the win. That is how I would go. But now that that was the old way, there's no way to know how the new way is going to be, because when they bring in 3v3 and they bring in fleets, that's going to screw a lot of people over. Unless you've got a MILF, yeah, forget about it. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah. So, Going Nerdy asks, so that's what happened to Scotty. He was pushed. I plead the fifth, and I apologize about the dogs barking in the background. I think the wife may finally be getting home from babysitting. I'm going to go close this studio door for a second. All right.
Any more Q's and A's?
Any more questions, guys? By all means, throw them out at us. I'm so. The one thing I do want to make sure that everyone knows who listens, guys, we're so appreciative of you. We actually broke the record for the most amount of people, other than the Carrie episode, most amount of people listening live just on this episode. So thank you to Going Nerdy for promoting it as well. We love you guys. We really, truly do.
We love you.
So let's see, what other questions do we have? Anything else said? I'm not seeing anything else come in.
Has anybody listened to what Cubs has said yet? And what does he mean in the title by Mobile Gamer was right?
So I think that's something that we could definitely cover next week on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll have to go watch. I'm going to have to go watch Mobile Gamers.
We've got Barney stuff.
Oh, interesting. Still recording, sweetheart. Still recording.
Yeah, dude, you're an excited dad. You have your daughter there. I think that is excellent.
I love having her here with me. But yeah, no, I'll watch I'll watch Cubs' video. But if he's kind of making a commentary on what Mobile Gamer said, I should kind of watch Mobile Gamer's video. And let me guess, did Arnold make one?
I'm sure it's on its way, but if Cubs made it, people will honestly say that Arnold made it first.
Okay, all right, yeah. No worries. So,
anyway,
okay.
With that, I do think that it is time to close it out. Urza's about to go live, so we'll hand over to him. I honestly do love being the opening act for Urza.
Yeah.
If everybody rage quits, can we all make a guild together? As sure, why the hell not?
Yeah, why not? I don't see why not. But no, not Heinzie. No Aussie accents.
Oh, come on! Don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, Heinzie was here before you.
Yeah, true. He was. Heinzie was here before me.
We'll wrap it up today, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you're a Patreon, tune into the after show. Also, if you're not a Patreon, we are thinking of coming up with some new things that are not just Discord related for Patreon. Reach out to us, comment in the YouTube video, or jump into Discord and just let me know, and then pop off if you want. I would love to come up with some things that would work for our listeners that are not Discord tied, so that we can offer more to you guys for being Patreons. So that does it for us this week. Guys, thank you so much again. And with that being said, Nev, I know you want to go spend time with your kiddos, so Nev, push the button.
Sounds good to me, mate. Ta-ta for now, folks.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the zone. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.